really, your second question, I mean, that's the one that hits home, I think, and really drives a point. So, you were talking about in one of my other podcasts, talking about the roles of military dogs being changed from things or equipment to more part of the team or on par with human soldiers. Absolutely, that was a super big change. So you got to think, if you look at canine history, back in Vietnam, we left over 4,000 canines there because they were considered excess equipment. In 2000, Congress passed a law they were no longer going to euthanize military working dogs because that used to be the practice. Once their service was up, just euthanize them and be done with them. But they said, nope, we're not going to do that anymore, which was super beneficial to me because I was able to bring Duco home once we retired. You kind of talked about, humanizing the dog. And if you think about it, you have to, in a way, because these canines are very much like a child where they are dependent on you for everything. They depend on you for their food, for their water, for you to clean their kennels, for you to be their advocate on the battlefield. Hey, does it make sense for me to employ this canine? So here's the thing. I didn't have a problem employing him as long as it was employed in a way that was proper. So, for example, did I have to send him into a structure where, let's say, there was a whole bunch of bad guys, but we already knew they were there? I wouldn't get anything from that. The only thing I would get is a dead dog that, oh, by the way, I wouldn't have that capability the following mission or the following night. So I had to be his advocate. I would say this. I would not be foolish to say, if he got killed and I was employing him properly and he saved people's lives, that's what he's there for. But I'd also tell you, I would say this. When I released him off of me to cast him somewhere to do whatever task we were asking him to do, I would say, God, please bring him back. And you know what? I was fortunate enough where God did. So, but at the same token, it's not, you have to make sure that the lines aren't crossed where you have such a love for the animal where he can't. You got to understand, it's still his job. It's no different than your mates in the battlefield. They could potentially get killed as well. But as long as you're employing him properly, I think that's the key thing. You have to understand, with my first dog, Marco, I didn't treat him like a dog. I treated him like a weapon of war. We'd go out and train. Once we were done or out in combat, or actually it was prior to combat, but up to the training side, it was like, train, yep, put him up, and didn't look at him as a dog, just as a weapon of war. One of my trainers was like, hey man, treat him like a dog. And again, it just helps harness that bond with the animal. So just go out and play fetch or just hang out or just spending that good quality bonding time. You have to understand, these dogs, in my opinion, add some normalcy to a very chaotic situation like in combat. So guys want to see the dogs. They want to pet the dogs. I'd even have guys that would order peanut butter and milk bones from back home and have them sent overseas just so they could give the dog a treat. You have to understand the role of canines has very much changed during the global war on terrorism to where they are given the same priorities as their two-legged counterparts. They're accountable on aircraft manifests. If they are wounded, we'll call in medevac aircraft for them. They will be treated by U.S. surgeons. I mean, they wear the stars and stripes on their vests, so they are very much a part of the pack. And oh, by the way, the boys want the dog. He is a combat multiplier like nothing else on the battlefield, and God knows how many sons, brothers, fathers, teammates are here today because of these canines. You can look at the SOF Canine Memorial down at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, or actually it's in Fayetteville at the Special Operations Museum. And the number of dead dogs that are on there, we'll never know how many guys are alive today because of them. But I will tell you this, I am here on this planet today because of the amazing ability of those dogs on numerous different occasions. So, you can love the dog, you can train the dog, you can do all that. To me, the lines were never crossed, in my opinion. We trained, we played or bond, but then at the same token, when it was time to employ, you employed your canine. And like I said, I was fortunate to get him back each and every time.